Okay, let's bring in our political panel. Dan Palmer, former advisor to Republican primary presidential candidate Ted Cruz, and Joel Rubin, former Deputy Assistant Secretary of State under Barack Obama and president of the Washington Strategy Group. Gentlemen, welcome. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So it's the economy, stupid, right? Does that still hold true today? Because you heard President Trump saying right there, point blank, he's running on the economy. Dan, to you first.
Yeah, the Trump economy is an absolute juggernaut. I mean, here we have 3.6% unemployment, 3.6% productivity growth. Wages are growing across the board, but especially at the entry level. And we still are in the middle of a trade war. If we get the trade war resolved, expect the economy to improve further. And then they're trying to do a large infrastructure deal. If that happens, the economy is going to improve even further. And if President Trump can control the unrestricted migration of low-skilled workers, we're going to see across the border, we're going to see even more wage growth at the low end. So not a lot of room for Democrats here, not a lot of good news for them, but great news for American workers.
Okay, Joel, let me give you a crack at that.
Sure, Anita. Well, first and foremost, the Obama-Biden economy definitely is humming along. This recovery has now been over 100 months, and President Trump has presided over the worst deficits that we've ever seen. We're on track this year to a $2.8 trillion deficit, twice as high as a decade ago after the economic collapse. So while these numbers do have strong indicators, they're an illusion. We have deep economic insecurity right now here in the country. Americans are worried about health care costs. Americans are worried about the fact their tax bills went up. This tax cut did not help the average American in terms of their monthly bills. And so Americans are looking at this and saying, well, we have huge deficits over the horizon. We've got health care costs that are rising. And the government's just spending money hand over fist to juice it for the top 1%. That's not a great track record to run on.
Okay, so 21 candidates on the campaign trail. That's a lot. Now, Joe Biden is the current front runner. He's out there talking, and he's hitting the president hard. Let's listen to the former vice president on the campaign trail.
The stock market is roaring, but you don't feel it. There was a $2 trillion tax cut last year. Did you feel it? Did you get anything from it? Of course not. Of course not.
Now, he's not the only one. Bernie Sanders was also out there today slamming Trump on the economy, saying even though unemployment is low, the economy's not working for everyone. So, Joel, when you have an economy with good, strong numbers, what should the Democrats' message be to America? Should you attack the economy or just talk about something else?
Well, the Democrats need to do what they're doing, which is talk about the economy for real Americans. It's doing great for those who can afford it at the most elite level of our economy, but for Americans across the board, our pocketbooks are stretched. We don't know where our next gap is going to come from. These deficits don't give us any wiggle room, and when it comes to costs like healthcare and education, these costs are very high, so Americans are living paycheck to paycheck, and that kind of insecurity needs to be addressed. Healthcare, as an example, the president wants to take away health insurance for Americans without anything to back it up. How's that going to help people economically? It's not. So these kinds of bread and butter issues are very ripe for Democrats in this campaign.
Okay, well, one thing that the Democrats would like to do is make the election about the president's character. So what about that, Dan?
I think there's a lot of noise about character, and I think it's a distraction. This election is going to be decided in a few key states: Wisconsin, Michigan, Pennsylvania, Ohio. These are lunch bucket states, and every aspect of the Democrat constituency is seeing economic gains, whether it's low unemployment for women, job gains for blacks, job gains. Actually, the one place that's soft is youth unemployment because of the Democratic policy of $15 an hour minimum wage. But other than that, across the board, every single Democratic constituency is making more money now than they were under Democratic leadership. You talk about this Biden-Obama economy. In case you've forgotten, Joel, that was 2% growth, and it was never going to get any better. And there was flat wages for 15 or 20 years. This is materially different now, and Trump has got one foot on the gas. He's trying to put the other foot on the gas with a trade deal, an infrastructure deal, and sealing up that border. I mean, I just think you guys need to talk about giving away free stuff. But when you do, just remember, when they say free, it means taxpayer funded, taxpayer funded college,
the free
taxpayer funded health care.
Joel, quick response from you, Joel.
No, the free stuff was $1.5 trillion tax cut giveaway to the wealthiest 1% that Americans are going to have to pay for time immemorial, and people are not feeling it in their pocketbook.
All right, gentlemen, thank you so much. Really appreciate it. We'll have plenty more time to talk about this before the next election. Thanks for coming.